All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Warakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you true, sincere brethren out there pushing out this purified truth, cleansing this wicked, defiled kingdom with this word. And the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him, going to that cross, none of this would even be possible. Alright? So this is the book of Daniel's 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, being the Israelites. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, and that's the elect. So when you look back in history, whether it be World War I, World War II, different civil wars, different violent acts that just happened throughout the earth, nothing is going to be compared to what is going to come. Great tribulation, great persecutions are coming. And it says, and at that time is speaking of Jacob's trouble. But the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be delivered. So during the time of Jacob's trouble, Esau is going to force upon the masses of the people to take the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. And anyone who takes that mark is going to be put to death. All right? And when you look at the RFID chip, within that chip is a barcode. And that barcode is 666. Okay, that's the number of Esau. Which is to show that if you take it, you belong to Esau, that Esau is your God, which is idolatry. All right? So we're coming into a very dark time, and we have to be prepared. We have to be aware and know that things are going to get real serious. Things are going to pick up pretty quickly. This is Matthew 10 and 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So we aren't to give Esau a reason to slander us more than what he's already doing. We're not bearing arms and going around threatening Edomites. We're not getting grouped up with a bunch of Israelites talking about we are going to take down Babylon ourselves. Okay? All we do is bring out the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And in our day-to-day, we're not walking around with our fringes on. We're not walking around telling everybody we're Israelites. We're not going to work trying to teach every goddamn person. All right, we're being wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But be aware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. So you have to be aware, because it can be your cousin, your brother in this truth, a brother that, came from the same father or mother, all right, who can turn you into the councils and totally, set you up for failure. It might come to a point of us being whipped, getting beat up, people putting their hands on us physically because of us serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right? And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. So wherever you're from, you have a governor. You may be given over to that governor, and that governor may make a decision against you. So you have to be aware of that. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. So there's no point of thinking ahead on what you're going to say. You might have a bold spirit right now and say, well, if Esau was to try to get me to take that chip, I'm going to tell him to shove that chip up his ass. I'm going to kick him in his head. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say that. Well, you shouldn't be in that kind of spirit, because we're rolling with the spirit. We don't know what is to come. Just like Peter didn't believe he would deny Yahweh Shai 3 times, but he did. So we can't get confident, overly confident, and say what we're going to do or say. We have to roll in the spirit, because at that very moment, all right, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to give us the spirit give us the words to speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death. So you're going to have men in this truth who are going to set up other men within this truth to be delivered up, just like Judas did to Yahushua. And the father, the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. And you're going to have, men in this truth even rise up against their elders, the elders who have taught them. Okay? And that includes your actual parents as well. All right? And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth till the end shall be saved. So we have to endure that persecution, because persecution is coming. And guarantee the majority of us who are in this thing, you're not ready like you think you are. You haven't even been afflicted. A lot of people within this truth love their life way too much. So they're going to tap out when Esau gets a hold of them. But the elect are going to be taken care of. The elect are going to be given the words to say. Verse 23. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man come. So now I'm going to go to John 16. John 16:1. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. So don't be offended because these things are being said. Don't be scared. All right? Don't be in fear. Be brave. Okay? Be courageous. Don't be craven. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you think that he doeth God service. So that's showing you some of us are going to be put to death. And in the eyes of the people who see us get put to death, they are going to think it's a good thing because, oh, they're racist. Oh, they teach hate and division. They're teaching that book that was given to them from the so-called white man, that made up philosophy. So people are going to have many reasons on why they think putting us to death, some of us to death, is a good thing, as if they're doing the Heavenly Father's work. Verse 3, and these things will they do unto you, because they have not known the Father nor me. These people in the world, they don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, okay? But these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, ye may remember that I told you of them. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you. So there was a time where Yahushai was actually with me. He was actually with you. Okay, but now he's not with us. He's with us in the spirit. He told us these things before so that we won't be surprised when these things happen, so that we can be aware, so that we can be on our toes. So we're not to fear. We're to have faith. This is the book of Psalms 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So in a time of persecution, if you may be facing death, faced with that chip, you have to be comforted in knowing that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he's with you all the way until the very end. Okay? That's why I labeled this lesson until death or deliverance. It's a saying that I like to say, and I see some brothers have picked up on that. Because we know in order to be one of Yahushai's, you have to endure. Okay? Until either put to death or them chariots come and deliver us out of here. And we're not to be scared or fearful of what man can do unto us. We're not to be scared or fearful of these prophecies that will come to pass. All right? And understand that, the scriptures were written for our learning. These scriptures were also written for our comfort. Okay? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And this world is full of death. All right? No matter where you are, no matter where you stand, not just here in America or Babylon more so, but everywhere on this earth, because it's Esau's kingdom, death follows. All right? I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And you have to have that confidence. You have to have faith in knowing that the Lord is with you. Okay? Whether you have to face the guillotine or you're going through, all the persecutions and the tribulations up until the time of them chariots coming. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Let's go to the book of Hebrews now. Hebrews 2 and verse 14. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same. So Yahushua came in the flesh. He felt pain. He went through tribulations. He went through trials. He went through being tested. Okay? And the servant is not greater than his master. And we are servants of Yahushua, so he is our master. So if he went through it, we'll have to go through it also. Okay? That through death, he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil. So although Yahushua was put on that cross and was persecuted, he actually defeated death. So in all actuality, in retrospective, we already defeated death if we be of Yahushua's. And delivered them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. So the reason why you shouldn't fear death is because it puts you in bondage to Esau. It puts you in bondage to these bodies. As long as you're in these bodies, you can face pain and grief and misery. You can be sick. All these things come with being in these bodies. So what is the point of fearing death when death is really a release? Death is really freedom. Okay? The worst thing about death is the sting that comes from it. That's what most people fear about death. And not knowing what is to come after. That's what fears people as well. But we shouldn't be in fear of death, because that puts you in bondage. And being put in bondage puts you at a disadvantage, because being scared of death will also or could also put you in that same mind frame of denying Yahushua and taking that RFID chip, the mark of the beast. And another reason why you shouldn't fear death is because not everybody is going to taste death this time around. There are people on this earth who are not going to have to taste death. Mark 9:1. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste of death till they have seen the kingdom of the power come with power. So there are many people who think, oh, we all have to die someday. Well, truth be told, not everybody has to die. There are certain men who will not taste death. And this was told to his disciples. And some of the Lord's disciples are here today. We don't know if we are the disciples, or we are all the disciples, through the Spirit, but we don't know if we're of the 12, You could be of the 12. I could be of the 12. Who knows? But nevertheless, there are certain men on this earth who will not have to taste death, because they're going to see the return of Yahushua come in them chariots. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste of death till they have seen the kingdom of the power come with power. So when Yahushua returns, he's returning with great power. All right? Psalms 91 and 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And the secret place is within these scriptures, abiding in his word. Okay? I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. So put your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Don't put your trust in Esau. Don't put your trust in that RFID chip. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is our shelter. Okay? He's going to be the one to cover us when destruction comes. And some of us are going to receive spiritual powers. They may place your head in the guillotine, and the guillotine may come down and break on your neck. They might actually have it to where you might be facing a firing squad and you're given spiritual powers to make all them bullets stop in front of you and just drop. You have to put your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai at all times. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Okay? So Esau is constantly laying traps. But putting your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you can avoid those traps. Just like how a bird would be caught in a bird trap, or a bear would be caught in a bear trap. Putting your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, he'll be the one to direct your steps. Okay? Where was I at? And from the noisome pestilence. And that's going into them ICBMs. You have some of us who are literally going to be in these bodies up until the time of them chariots coming and to see them missiles fall down from the sky as rain. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. So being covered with his wings, that's us being delivered into them chariots. Some of us may have to face the guillotine. The scriptures talk about that. Some of us are also going to be here to actually get beamed up into them chariots. But either way, if you're of Yahweh Shai's, you're good. Everything's going to be okay. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. So what do we put our trust in? We put our trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Let's go to the book of Revelations 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them which were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and for the word of the power, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. And that 1,000 years isn't speaking of literally 1,000 years. It's speaking of eternity. So there's going to be a time where we may be faced with them guillotines. And when you look at them guillotines, they're terrifying looking. Especially to see people go before you and to see the blood on the blade, see heads before you, and Esau surrounding you, laughing at it like it's funny, like it's a big joke. These things could be terrifying. But we have faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that no matter what, there's nothing that can separate us from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the fact that we're not trying to take that chip, Esau is just going to say, you know what? Put his head in the guillotine. Well, it's recorded that some of us are going to be beheaded. Our heads are going to be separated from our body for some of us. Okay? So once again, that's why I named this lesson Until Death or Deliverance. Some of us will taste death. Some of us will be here to see them chariots come. But either way, if you're of Yahweh Shai's, you already defeated death. Okay? Let's go to Romans 8 and 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us, which is speaking of Yahweh Shai. So if we are of Yahweh Shai, we have already conquered. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of the power which is in Mashiach Yahweh Shai our Lord. So if you're of the elect, nothing can be done to pluck you out of the Lord's hand. No matter what you're faced with, the Lord will give you that spirit. He'll give you the words to speak. Okay? And to take it like a man. And to not be craven. Because many of our people think they're fearless, think that they're not afraid of death until it faces them. Well, you have to be confident in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and not your own self. Okay? Because just like I said, Peter didn't agree that he would deny Yahweh Shai 3 times, but guess what? He did. And it wasn't because he was wicked. Okay? He's actually one of the 12. But nevertheless, he denied Yahweh Shai 3 times. So we have to hope and pray that we don't ever deny Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in these times to come, which can cause us to take that chip. Hell no. This is Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and this is speaking of all nations. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So what's that line up with? That lines up with what I read in Mark 9 and 1. In fact, let me read this again and I'll jump back to Mark 9 and 1. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, which are the chariots of heaven, with power and great glory. Let's jump back to Mark 9 and 1 right quick. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste of death till they have seen the kingdom of God come with power. So that's speaking of, you have those who are going to actually live to see Yahweh Shai come in them chariots to deliver them. Okay, so going back. And then, this is Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And that includes those who have lived within the elect, who have lived to see that day come. Those who haven't tasted death. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So that's speaking of the elect being delivered all throughout the earth, not just here in America. The north, south, east, and west, wherever they may dwell, in all continents of the earth, the elect are going to be delivered. Okay? Even those who have been put to death, okay, they're going to be on the chariots first, waiting for the arrival of the rest of the elect who are still on this land when them chariots arrive. So we have nothing to fear. All we have to do is keep our hope high, keep our faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Persecutions are coming. We are already being chastised. We are already being afflicted. But it's to get us ready for the times to come. Because if you love your life, it will sure be hard for you to lose it. Okay, so Lord willing, this lesson was simple and edifying. Kahala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.